Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. JLR investigates. We are back. Continuous coverage of the mass shooting that occurred earlier today. Abundant Life Christian School in Madison, Wisconsin. We broke it live on YouTube as it was going on in real time. The crime scene, basically, the reunification center. At the time, up to now, they're reporting that 3 people are dead, 7 are injured. Police are going to give an update just in a few minutes to inform us any new information, whether they've revised those numbers up or down or what, get details, maybe even the suspect. Maybe they'll even identify the suspect and give us information about this deadly shooting. We're talking about a school, a Christian school, K through 12. They're saying around 10:57 a.m. today, officers responded to calls of an active shooting. It resulted in 3 casualties, 7 people injured, taken to hospitals. Children are included as the victims. Also, folks, unclear who actually died, but they said amongst the 3 was the shooter. The shooter is deceased. So we got that information. We were watching just a massive amount of police response to this whole situation. So sad, so terrifying. I can't imagine being a parent and have to get that call or that alert on their phone that there has been a shooting at a school where their children go to. Just heartbreaking. So the police chief, his name is Sean, S-H-O-N Barnes. And I believe that he and maybe a federal officials or county official, district attorney, bunch of people plan to talk. Maybe it's just 1 or 2, who knows? But we are here going to cover this and listen to this. So this starts at about scheduled for 2:30 Central. As you see the clock there, we're about 6 minutes away, 6 or 7 minutes away, assuming that they'll be on time. So, yeah, this is terrifying. Got the alert through you guys. Oh, thank you, people that have been sending us emails and tagging us on Twitter, keeping us informed of what was going on. We instantly come on and break it onto YouTube. And right after we came on YouTube, probably within the 5 or 10 minutes later, that's when the live feed started popping up. So definitely ahead of the curve. And as always, and we owe it all to you. We want to get that information out there in real time. So what in the world happened here? My question is, who is the shooter? Is the shooter someone that was known to the school as being a troublemaker, or is this going to be shocking to the core where one of those situations we didn't see this person coming? Apparently, it is a student that goes to the school who is a shooter, so this will be interesting. Unclear if the shooter is male or female. A lot of speculation out there that the shooter possibly could be a female. So we will see, shall we? JLR Investigates. Make sure you sub up to the channel. We cover true crime 24/7, 365 on this channel. So they're preparing. They got the microphones, right? This is at one of the fire stations nearby of the school. I suspect school will probably be out for numerous days, grief counselors, that sort of deal. You guys know the drill. You guys know the routine. This happens so too often, and terrifying. So that's their testing. 1, 2, 3, testing.
Hi, Haley. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. We can hear you. I had to get another fresh cup of coffee to be jacked up. We were talking drone talk today, and then this just popped up. I'm like, oh my goodness. I don't like covering these things, folks. Don't get it twisted. I don't like covering this. I would rather not talk about this type of stuff. I really wouldn't. I'd rather talk about, drones and things like that. That's going on, the mystery. Did not expect this, and but it is what it is. We're here. It's important to get the information out. Important to get an understanding of it. Things are horrible. Horrible. School shootings are horrible, man. I don't have children. I know a lot of Papa Bears and Mama Bears in the chat. I call you guys Mama Bears and Papa Bears. I know you guys have children, so I know you're hugging your children a little bit more. today than normal when you hear things like this. It's just these schools nowadays. Saying all schools are bad, you know, we had that debate and discussion, you know, about these schools. Another thing too that was mentioned at the first press conference with the police chief was about the metal detectors in the school. And he said there was no need for them. So apparently they didn't have metal detectors in the school. So just want to point that out.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Does this sound good? Okay. Mic check. Mic check.
A lot of these reporters were boots on the ground, out there in the cold. It was cold out there. It's still cold out there. It's 40 degrees out there. Heather, whatever. I like that. Heather, whatever. Thank you, Heather, whatever. Prayers for all. Thank you, JLR and Magnolia. Magnolia is also helping run the show today. She is working behind the scenes, getting that information out there. All right, so we have a name, Magnolia. Is it okay to share this name? So a lot of people say, I'll just say initials SP. Initials SP. It's SR. Sorry, SR. SR. Initial SR. SR are the initials. And folks, there could be a possibility, I'm not saying it, but there could be a possibility that the shooter is a female. There's a lot of screenshots. I got them in front of me, but I just want to be very careful here without saying these names. But I could say the speculation is it's a female, but we're not going to drop a name yet. But I could just say if they're going to drop a name, it might be SR. SR. Thank you for that information, Magnolia. I'm sure Adam will get on IT. I think we're just going to go pretty much right away. So I can tell you on IT. We are here. A press conference is about to be underway. All unconfirmed, though. All unconfirmed. Welcome, everybody. We cover true crime 24/7, 365, round the clock.
Hi, we're just waiting for the fire chief to be in, and then we'll have everyone come in to do this. If you weren't at the scene, what we are going to do when it comes time for questions is we're gonna have each outlet ask one. Dylan here will essentially point from left to right our way. And then each reporter again will be granted one question and then we'll have them answer that one.
So just raise your hands. We're going to answer questions. So yes. Any questions right now? We're just waiting for.
How far is the chief?
He's supposed to be here any second. So it's going to be Police Chief Barnes, and then Fire Chief Carbon, and then Madison Mayor Satya Rhodes Conway, and then County Executive Melissa Agard. And then we'll take questions after that. All right. See you in a minute.
All right, thank you. Come on in, everyone. JLR investigates. Terrible situation. A lot of people in the chat. So I'm scanning around Twitter with this name.
When you're setting up, we're all going to have to walk right through here. So, do you guys mind like doing right
Thanks for joining JLR Investigates. Yeah, they're already posting stuff about the suspect on Twitter for sure. Apparently, if this is the right person, the person made some posts or something before they did this. Possibly one of those situations. Looks like it was maybe a selfie in the bathroom of the school. Or this, here, I'll send this to you, Magnolia. This is pretty wild stuff here. Might have a manifesto situation, because if this is the person that did this, which we have an eye on right now, an account, I'll just say female SR, and they posted something on social media just a little bit before this crime was going to occur, like literally, like maybe like I don't know, like 15 minutes before the crime occurred with a selfie. It looked like in a bathroom with an attachment of a Google Drive, but I can't get into the Google Drive. Possibly a manifesto situation. Possibly. Yeah, so some people know the initials of what I'm talking about. There we go.
This is the part where, again, I would normally start by saying good afternoon and thanking you for being here. But under these circumstances, I'll just give you a minute to start your live streams or do whatever you need to do. And while you're doing that, my name is Chief Sean Barnes, SHONBARNES. I'm currently the Chief of Police for the Madison Police Department. I'll be providing a brief update of the school shooting that we had today in Madison. There is some information that we're not going to release because it's still an ever-evolving situation. You'll hear from some of our representatives from our city and from our county. And behind me are a lot of people who came together today to make sure that the day ended well and that everyone else was safe. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and start my remarks. Today truly is a sad day for Madison and for our country. It is a day that I believe will live in our collective minds for a very, very long time. Here are the details. Today at 10:57 a.m., our team was called to the Abundant Life Christian School in reference to an active shooter. We know that 3 people are dead, including the suspect shooter. We know that the suspect shooter was a teenage student who attended the school. At this time, we're not releasing the age or gender of the student or any other identifying remarks about the student. 2 other people have died. That died were a teacher and a teenage student. 6 other people were injured. 2 students are now in critical condition in the hospital, and these injuries are considered life-threatening injuries. 4 students are also at other area hospitals with non-life-threatening injuries. But these are just the physical injuries that we know about. We know that this was the middle of the day of a school day, and so there will be other injuries that we'll have to face for a very, very long time. And we're going to do everything we can as a community to heal those injuries as well. Many of you have asked me about the why of this. Why did this happen? What do we know? What was the motivation? I do not know. But I will tell you this, our detectives are working hard in the investigative process to find out as many answers as we can so that we can further prevent these things from happening, not only in this community, but in other communities around our country. I think we can all agree that enough is enough. And we have to come together to do everything we can to support our students, to prevent press conferences like these from happening again and again and again. The school building itself is clear. We have cleared the school. There's no other threats or danger to the community. We're in the process now of what we call reunification. And what that simply means is making sure that every student that was in the school is present and accounted for and returned to their loved ones. This usually takes a while, but we have practiced, unfortunately, and practice, and that's why we're able to reunify students with their parents within hours of a school shooting. The reunification is taking place at the Dean Clinic on Stoughton Road, and I certainly thank them for their help. Again, we need our public to find an alternate route. If that is your normal way home as we get closer to the end of the day, please be patient or find another route home. We're currently processing the scene. We're interviewing those who may have been witnesses, and we're obtaining search warrants to get additional information. And lastly, I want to just say thank you to everyone who's standing behind me, the organizations and agencies that they represent, the men and women of the Madison Police Department and Dane County Sheriff's Office who selflessly ran into a building not knowing what they were going to encounter. Many of you know this about me, but I started my professional career, if you will, as a public school teacher back in 1997. And I taught public school for 4 years. It was one of the greatest joys of my life before becoming a police officer. And I can tell you what a special place our schools are. With that being said, we owe it to our community to do everything possible to ensure that it's not only a special place, but a safe place as well. And we're going to continue to do that. So we ask for your patience as information is coming in. We will do the best that we can to bring you accurate and timely information, but we want to make sure that our public knows that we're working extremely hard on this particular incident. There are a lot of people involved, and certainly we're going to come together as a community. I'd like to bring up at this time Police Fire Chief Chris Carver.
Thank you, Chief Barnes. Before I start, the only thing I can say is this is not a place that any fire chief or any one of us would ever want to be. And I can't believe I'm standing here today talking about this incident. The fire department is a part of this community, much like all of the folks standing up here with me today. Our hearts are with and our arms are around everybody impacted today and everybody within our community. With that, I won't repeat the details shared by Chief Barnes, but I will share with you the fire department activity for today. Much like Chief Barnes mentioned, at 10:57, we were also dispatched with Engine 5 and Medic 5 to the same location. Throughout the course of the incident, we responded with 5 engine companies, 4 ladder companies, 15 ambulances. I would like to take a moment and share our gratitude for our county partners throughout a multitude of EMS and fire agencies that joined us in the response today. We also had 11 off-duty chief officers that came in on this response. So it was a tremendous response from the fire department. We transported 4 patients to St. Mary's. We transported 3 patients to the University of Wisconsin hospitals. On the arrival of our crews, I can say my gratitude to our membership for what they did and their selfless actions today. It's hard for me to place into words what they ran into as well. They did that immediately. They did that selflessly. And within a course of 15 minutes, from the first transport to the last transport, all the patients were on their way to the hospital. So to our membership within the Madison Fire Department and within all the emergency services, my gratitude, my recognition of the work that goes into this, the training that went into this, that again, we had hoped we would never have to put into practice. One more time on behalf of the Madison Fire Department, our hearts are with you, our arms are around you, and we will be with you throughout the duration of this. So at this point, I'll step aside, turn it over to the mayor.
Thank you, Chiefs, both of you. This is an incredibly sad day for our community. As you've heard, there is no danger to the community at this time, but our entire community has been impacted by this tragic incident. On behalf of the Common Council and the City of Madison staff, I want to offer our heartfelt condolences to the victims and families and to the whole Abundant Life community. Our focus now is on supporting them and supporting the victims and their families. And we will continue to do that through the coming days and weeks. I also want to thank our first responders, the police, fire, the medical staff, for their quick action and their life-saving efforts. As you've heard already, this is a whole of government response. It is not just police and fire. It is not just City of Madison. We have folks from all around the county. We have folks from multiple agencies engaged in both the initial immediate response and the ongoing support, and will be engaged for days and weeks to come. I also want to thank the White House and the governor and others in the federal government and state government for reaching out to offer their support and help. And we will be drawing on resources as needed going forward. But the most important thing right now is to make sure that we are centering the victims and their families, and that we are doing whatever we can to support them and to help them heal, and to lift our entire community up through this difficult incident. I am on record that I think we need to do better in our country and our community to prevent gun violence. And I hoped that this day would never come in Madison. It is not something that any mayor, any fire chief, any police chief, any person in public office ever wants to have to deal with. And so I will ask our entire community and our entire country to do whatever we can to make sure that no public official ever has to stand in this position again. And now I'll invite the county executive to the podium.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today, our community is reeling from the heartbreaking and senseless tragedies at Abundant Life Christian School in Madison. As a mom who received a text from her son at a high school here in the city of Madison, wondering if he was safe, I can tell you, this hits you in the gut. Our community is better than this. Our country is better than this. Cannot continue. My heart goes out to the victims and their families and the students and the educators, and the list goes on and on. Every one of us is affected by this unimaginable and unacceptable violence that has hit our community today. School community. The Sheriff's Department, the Department of Emergency Management, Department of Human Services have all been on the front lines. My phone has been ringing from people across our state and our nation asking what it is that they can do to help our community. And right now, it is our time to be committed to supporting this school, these students, and these families, and our first responders who went into that building during this devastating time. We must work closely with our law enforcement officers and first responders, mental health professionals, community leaders, and policymakers to ensure that we are taking care of one another. No community should ever have to endure such a tragedy. And my administration is going to do everything that it can to provide assistance to those who have experienced this devastating loss, and also do everything that we can to prevent such tragedy from occurring. To all of those who are grieving in our community, please know that you're not alone. Dane County stands with you. We're here to support you in any way possible. Please reach out and ask for help. The governor's office, as well as the mayor's office, and I will continue to update the public as we learn more. But please understand, there are many things that we cannot share with you right now. This is an active investigation. This is an active case. The SSM Health Clinic near the intersection of Buckeye Road and Stoughton Road is the reunification center. I know that that has been out, but we need to make sure that folks know where it is that they can go to be reunited with their children. Again, in the coming days, we are going to make sure that we are supporting those that have been most impacted by this. But folks, reach out, ask for help. This does not need to be the reality of our community. Thank you.
All right, we'll start over here with questions. Just raise your hands.
How did this unfold? Can you give us a bit of a timeline, how your officer got into the building?
Sure. We received a call at approximately 10:57 a.m. Someone from the school called 911 to report that there was an active shooter. That means something different to us. Obviously, there's different protocols that go out, tone alerts even, so that even if officers are busy doing other things, they respond. One of the things that I do want to note is that our training center is about 3 miles from there. We have special event team medics, those that work with the fire department, responded to this particular scene from their training day. So what began as a training day became an actual day. And so that's how this call originally came.
Nicholas, did you have a question?
What can you tell us, if anything, more about this shooter and what their motivations were, or have you made contact with their family members? Anything updated on that?
Sure, there's nothing new that I can tell you about the shooter at this time. Again, as difficult as today is, that's still someone's child that's gone. That's still someone that has to deal with what happened today. And so we want to make sure that we can ensure as much cooperation as we can. You asked me about why, as I stated before, I don't know why. And I felt like if we did know why, we could stop these things from happening. But what I will tell you is, as soon as we are done with the investigation, any information that we uncover that will not compromise the safety of anyone involved or compromise the confidentiality of any of these children that are involved, we'll tell you. I just ask for your patience.
All right, over there. Sorry, go right ahead.
Chief, what kind of gun was used today?
We know it was a handgun. We know a handgun was recovered.
All right, sit down right there.
Was the shooting confined to one classroom, or did it spread out throughout multiple?
We know it was confined to one space. I do not know if it was a classroom or a hallway. One of the things that we've gotten very good at, certainly different from in my day, is that if you do not need to be in a crime scene, you do not need to go to a crime scene. And so the crime scene and those persons who were involved, they have that crime scene locked down. I did not go or enter into that crime scene. But if you can imagine, most schools, the students go together, but they are segregated. So on each different floor, in each different group. And so there's no evidence that anyone else was injured that was not in the age group.
Danielle?
What can you say at this time about how school staff responded? What the shooting started?
I cannot speak to how the school staff responded. We did have injuries, but it could have always, of course, had additional injuries. I do not know what the school's protocols are. Again, this is a private Christian school. I know that we have a very good rapport with MMSD, Madison Metropolitan Schools, public schools. So we have done trainings for them before, but I would assume that most of the teachers have the same or some similar type of training as a part of their certification.
There's conflicting reports online about how many students are enrolled at the school. Can you confirm approximately how many students attend the school?
I do not know how many students attend the school, but their website says that they serve about 200 families.
Right in the back, White.
What kind of support systems are going to be made available to people who are affected by this?
That's a good question. As you heard from our mayor and our county exec, we have services within our government that will be made available to them. I have a lot of confidence that they're going to follow through on that, and we'll make sure that that persons who need to. You guys want to speak to that?
So, Dane County Human Services, as well as the Red Cross and other consolidated agencies, are already on scene. And we will continue to be on scene, and those resources will be bolstered. Again, please reach out. You are not alone. We are going to navigate this together. And there are people who are affected by this trauma who are not in the reunification center or at the school. We need folks to be reaching out because we do have resources available.
Did you know if Abundant Christian Life School, did they have a school resource officer employed?
It's not my knowledge that they had a school resource officer. That if they did, it would be a police officer, and I know where they all are, and they're not in the schools right now.
50 in the back there.
So in terms of witnesses that you mentioned about investigation, what does that look like, and how many
Sure.
witnesses are you guys speaking of?
Sure. So the detectives will talk to anyone who may have seen this particular event unfold. Anyone that may have been unfortunate to hear something, they will be talking to them. It's my understanding that that's in process now and everyone is cooperating fully. That will give us an idea of not only what unfolded, but it could answer the question to motivation, because again, the students who unfortunately had to witness this. But that's not something that we want to rush. We're not going to interrogate students. We're going to give them an opportunity to come in and speak to what they may have saw when they feel ready, which is why some of these questions can't be answered right now.
All right, Inspector, how do you reassure the community that it's still okay to go back to school? I mean, everybody's got kids, and I think, maybe it happened at this school, but there's everybody that's got a kid anywhere, right? In county, it's gonna be hard.
Yeah, I think you're asking me, how can I say 100% that no child will ever be harmed in school? I can't. No police chief can. But all I can tell you is that we have systems in place so that if something happens, we can respond like we did today. I can tell you that our mayor and our county exec has committed resources to not only public health, but also mental health. I can tell you that every teacher that I've ever had contact with at MMSD cares deeply about their students. Every staff member, I talk to staff members all the time who tell me things that are going on in the schools and want to do whatever they can, even if it's under anonymity, to let me know that they want to have a safe school. So my reassurance to the public is that if you see something, say something. If you know someone who may be going through a difficult time, please reach out to someone. And I think what I can do is make sure that our police department is transparent and open and honest and inviting for people to call and give information. I think MMSD does an excellent job of that. And the same thing can be said for any other private school. If you want to give information or you need someone to talk to, I can promise you we'll have someone there to get that information.
All right, understanding that this is a private school you may not be as familiar with, what can you tell us about some of the physical measures that are in place at this school, whether it's metal detectors, secure entryway, cameras, et cetera?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've never been in this school, unfortunately. I'm not aware that there were metal detectors in the school. That's something that we can certainly look at. Most schools have some form of surveillance or public space cameras, but that will be, of course, part of the investigation process.
Scott?
Chief, can you clarify? You said 7 were injured, but 6 were hospitalized. Does that mean one's been treated at least? And secondly, is the shooter's family cooperating with the investigation?
Yeah, so it's 2 questions, but let me try to handle the first one. So I'm trying to go back to my notes. So we do know that 1 person was pronounced at the scene. And so that may be the 7th person, but we can get you all that information just when we're done. I'll have my PIO give that to you so you can report it accurately. And what was your second question?
Is the shooter's family cooperating?
At this time, yes.
So you have made contact with the shooter's family?
We have.
And what were the steps to do that?
Through the investigative process. Okay. Lauren?
Is the shooter's home being searched? We've got some information about that is ongoing.
Yes, obviously, once we have identified, we have initiated a search, but we think that search is either ongoing now or that search may be concluded. Of course, it's about safety. That's the first thing, making sure that people are safe, and then we'll go from there. This has been, this has been an amazing day for everyone. And so if you have someone who is deceased, who may have been a shooter, you want to make sure that their family is okay. You don't know. And so that is what we're doing right now. It is about the safety of everyone. This is going to be a long day for the Madison Police Department. We just want some of your patience.
Are you aware, had the school had any prior threats? And then just, jumping off of that, do you know if the shooter had any prior contact with law enforcement?
We do not know that the shooter had any prior contact with law enforcement, but I did do a check of the school. There were some calls, but they were like 911 hangups, things of that nature. There was nothing that suggested that the school was a place that violence would occur.
Chief, I know that you mentioned that the shooter died of a self-inflicted gun wound. Did that happen before officers arrived at the school or when the shooter saw officers coming into the school?
Yeah, so let me say that the cause and manner in which the shooter died will be determined by the inmate. But what I can tell you is the shooter was dead upon our arrival, police department arrival, and no officers fired their weapons. Okay.
What are these search warrants you're executing? Are they at the residence on like the device the shooter had?
What do you, I'm sorry.
The extent of the search warrants.
Yeah, so the extent of the search warrant is to be able to go in a place that we don't have permission to be in and make sure that everyone is okay. And then if there's any evidence that we think we need to collect, we could only do that with the use of a search warrant. And so again, we have to determine if there is evidence that we will need. Everyone wants to know what led up to this. Are there any additional threats to public safety? Is this person or was this person by themselves? There are a lot of questions that we want to answer, but we have to answer the safety questions first, and then we'll move on to some of the more investigatory questions.
Are you in possession of any of the shooter's devices?
I am not, no.
I'm wondering about the metal detectors. You mentioned in the first meeting that you were not a fan, and that this school probably doesn't have them, and do you know other schools that do? Do you think that that's something we should start talking about, metal detectors in schools?
I guess the question is, would you want your child to go to a school with or without metal detectors?
I can't answer that.
I can't.
Right now, it's school without them.
Yeah, absolutely. So the idea is to create the safest environment that we can without metal detectors. That is my answer.
Chief, this was a shooting at a Christian school right before the Christmas holiday. Can you address the impact of that? And is the Christmas holiday at all, in your belief, related to as a motivation for the shooting?
Yeah. So to the question of motivation, we don't know why, but to the question of so close to Christmas, we have a lot of people going to be impacted. If it's a Christian school, then obviously our holidays, our Christian holidays are very important to the students, very important. It's a time for family. Students probably getting ready to go out on break. And now the break will be a little less about celebrating Christmas than more about celebrating perhaps friends and loved ones and staff members who perhaps lost their life. That's why I'm asking everyone to, of course, keep Abundant Life Christian School in your thoughts and in your prayers, and we'll get a couple more, okay?
Okay, real quick, Phoebe.
So it's a private school that takes public money through the voucher system. So what has this revealed about maybe gaps in security or training for staff? Is that something you're thinking about whether schools that are private that take public money need to be, on par with public schools when it comes to safety?
Well, what I'm telling you is that in 1997, I began my professional career as a public school teacher. I taught history for 4 years before becoming a police officer. So I did not get far enough to take courses in administration and budgeting of schools. I don't know what governs private schools, if they receive money, where that comes from. That would probably be a question that you would probably need to ask someone who's more intimately involved in the school system and what their requirements are if they do receive that. But you could probably compare what has happened or what goes on, their security measures with the security measures of any school in MMSD, and then that will may give you your answer. That's a very,
one very quick follow-up. As you know, there has been some criticism of the law departments and their response to these school shooting incidents, particularly Uvalde. How did that inform your game plan today, and how quickly were your officers able to get into the school? What were they told to do?
Sure. We train on this, as I spoke about earlier. When officers arrive on the scene, they immediately go in, which we did in this case. Stop the threat, stop the killing, find the killer. That's how we train. And that's exactly what we did today. There's no waiting. There's no coordination of who's in charge. Everyone knows exactly what to do. I spoke about this earlier. We train on this constantly. Our commanders, including the fire chief and I, was in a commander's training less than 2 weeks ago, going over this exact same scenario for another fictional location. And so all of that came into play today, and our officers performed extremely well based on their training and based on the expectations that they know exactly what to do. Stop the threat, stop the killing, find the threat.
Right, I promise to follow up. Can we just do one more? Hold on, right here.
Thank you all. I think the questions have been asked, and we're straying a little far from what's most important at this point in time, and that is the victims and their families. I have three things to add. First of all, there is a lot that our community can and will do in the coming days to support the victims and their families, and we will have more information at future briefings. If anyone, and I would urge you all to include this in your stories, if anyone needs mental health support as a result of this incident and the coverage of it, I encourage them to reach out to 988 by phone or text and to get the mental health support that they need. It is incredibly important that we take care of our community in this very difficult time. We all have a role in preventing gun violence. Our entire community needs to be part of the solution here. There are many things that we can do, and we can have those conversations in coming days. But first and foremost, what needs to be the priority for all of us is supporting our young people. And that is where our community's attention needs to turn at this point in time. The police department, the fire department, the city, the county will share additional information about the investigation as it becomes available. But I urge you all to help our community find resources to support their mental health and to find resources to support the victims and families at this time. Thank you all.
People go to see your updates. What can you tell them?
It'll be on cityofmadison.com. Me and Stephanie and Cynthia will stick around and answer any other questions, but that's all.
Let me say just before I go, because the mayor mentioned that this was a whole of government response. It certainly was, and there's so many people that we want to thank. We cannot thank everyone, but it's also a whole of law enforcement response. Even though we are in different agencies, we all have the same training. And so I want to thank our partners with the FBI who are here with me today, partners with the ATF, Dane County Emergency Management. Of course, we already talked about our fire department. We've got calls from the Attorney General of the United States, Wisconsin State Patrol, our governor's office, State Patrol, Monona, as well as our sheriff's office. I know I may have left someone out, but thank you for how you responded professionally, quickly, and according to the way that we all trained, and it all came together to ensure that no other persons were hurt. Thank you.
Chief, can you just say what time you guys made entry? We just want to nail that.
10:57.
But that's
the time you made
not
it.
it.
Right, in 1 minute?
We'll work on getting that. So our next,
How long does it take to they arrive to the city race back? They're gonna see the call at 10:57.
Yeah, so I will work on getting that information for our next media briefing. We plan to meet here at 5:30 tonight. And I will work on getting that information.
do you know how many search warrants were executed?
All right, we're gonna.
Information I can see if detectives are able to share that number.
Okay, and also have they checked his social media at all?
That is something that is routine in any investigation. We'll look at any online information.
All right, they did not identify the shooter, but it's fair to, it's pretty safe to say the name of the shooter on JLR Investigates, pretty much with the information going around. So the shooter is a female. As you heard from the police chief, he didn't identify the suspect, but the growing circulation is an individual named Samantha, Samantha Rupnow. Rupnow. They're saying that this is the shooter, and they're posting a lot of disturbing posts from a Twitter account called Postal Brained, at Postal Brained, of Samantha, purportedly of Samantha, just making a last post at 11:45 a.m. December 16th, 11:45 a.m. And in this photo, the shooter is posting kind of like a hand signal. It looks like the shooter's wearing all black with black boots in a bathroom stall, probably in the school. It looks like one of those, hey, this is my last posting type of deals, followed by a subsequent follow-up on their tweet with a Google Drive, but you can't access it until you get the passcode. So it's safe to say that this individual is the one that did this crime. Samantha Rupnow. Samantha Rupnow. And then I can just say that, yeah, I'm already on. If this is the person that did it, Samantha Rupnow, we're talking big accounts now. We're putting this information out, right? If that's the account that did it, Samantha Rupnow, her father took her to target practice and shooting practice on the range and introduced her to a gun just in the springtime of this year. Just in the springtime of this year, according to the father's Facebook, the father, who first name begins with the J, took her to shooting. So whether this is the person or not, again, I'm seeing it. I see a lot of people in the chat. This is, again, the crime scene here. Who is Samantha Rupnow? Wonder why the police chief did not identify or say gender or anybody that, who did this. Why the police chief kept that quiet. I think the public deserves to know. I think victims' families want to know. Everybody in the community that's affected, everyone that went to that school is technically a victim. I'm sure they want to know who is the person that did this, right? Who is the person that did this? So people in the chat are also saying Samantha Rupnow. But you have to, if you want trust with the public, you have to be open and transparent. Uncomfortable truths. You can't keep these things secret. Same sort of situation happened with the mass shooting down there in Nashville. The manifesto situation. Hale, right? Aubrey. So what I'm saying is put the information out there, man. I don't know why people want to hide it and try to, keep it as, not known as long as possible, long as legally possible. Eventually they're going to have to release the shooter's name. But you're hearing, I'm seeing it right now and I'm looking. Samantha Rupnow. And man, this Rupnow, Magnolia, I don't know if you could get her photo in the chat, if you could do that. If it's possible, Magnolia, to get the photo of the shooter and embed it maybe in the right side of the screen, what's circulating, if it's possible. Magnolia will probably work on that. But yeah, this is scary times. Now, why would an individual do this right before Christmas, 9 days before Christmas at a Christian school? The shooter supposedly goes to the school. What's going on here? Is there disciplinary problems with this individual? Was this person an outcast? Was this person bullied? Is this person on SSRIs, drugs? What's going on? We're trying to get answers here. And this is the Christian school here. I'm showing you some footage from before at the crime scene. But we always want to get an understanding of what this is going on. So the post was made when I say 11:50 and I say the times, I'm actually saying Eastern time. They're Central time, so it's an hour back. So this individual named Samantha on @postalbrained, POSTAL BRAINED. The account posted some sort of manifesto in a Google Drive at 10:50 a.m. 10:50 a.m. a manifesto, something in a Google Drive. I'm saying probably some sort of documents. Here you go, folks. You're seeing this first. We're pretty safe to say that this individual is the one that did it. Right here, Samantha Rupnow. Father begins with the letter J. He posted on his own social media, taking her to shooting practice earlier in the spring and bragging about it. They went to MBSC. I don't know what MBSC. Let me see what MBSC is. So apparently the father took Samantha to target practice and shooting practice with a gun on a range in the spring of this year. Now, this kind of has Do we have a little bit of Colt Gray vibes here? You know, remember Colt Gray? Remember the Grays? Remember, you know, the dad giving him access to guns, bought him a gun Christmas time, ultimately went Appalachian High School. Remember where the Gray had a history with guns and the Discord threats and everything like that? Or do we have a situation similar maybe where, you know, this individual could have had problems with the law or something like that, but the father still let the individual have access to guns? It's going to be interesting to say the least. Remember the space. So I want to go back to what I was saying. What is NBSC? Let's see. NBSC in Wisconsin. NBSC. NBSC, Wisconsin. New Berlin Swim Club. New Bristol Sportsman Club. New Bristol Sportsman Club. I think it's, yeah. I think we're talking about Sportsman Club Place. Okay, so what you see here, folks, is a post of the purported shooter. And this post was made on their social media account, Postal Brained, and it was approximately posted at 11:45 Eastern AM, which would be 10:45 AM Central. Now, we heard, folks, we heard that the call came in at 10:57 AM. So what it looks like we got here, folks, is someone in their bathroom at the school pretty much saying, this is it. It's showtime. What are those type of things? Followed by a Google Drive. You see the Google, the docs. There's something there, a manifesto, but I can't access it. No one can access it without a passcode. But something was posted. Now this is being spread all around. Postal Brained, and you notice the at Postal Brained of the account. Postal Brained is like gone postal. Gone postal. So we have someone right before things happen. It's pretty scary stuff. Now people say arrest the father, arrest the father. I mean, I don't know anything about the father and the father's allowing, you know, we don't know where the gun came from. They're saying CNN's reporting it was a 9mm. We don't know how the shooter obtained a weapon at all. We don't know how. We don't know if it was stolen. We don't know if the shooter got the gun from the dad. Doubtful that the shooter owns a gun themselves. The shooter is clearly a juvenile. But folks, it is quite possible, and I mean, they're saying it's her. We have a female mass shooter, folks. We have a female mass shooter. We have a female mass shooter. That's wild. Wild times. Now, it probably will be revealed. Now, I don't know if the school is going to keep tight-lipped. You see the kind of the school, they don't want to answer questions. I'm wondering if the shooter was a male, if the police chief would be quick to mention the name if the shooter was a male. If the shooter was a male, I'm wondering if the police chief would be quick to share that information out. But clearly they know who did this. Why are they keeping this? Why are they keeping this quiet? Explain to me, folks. Riddle me this. All my friends on JLR Investigates. Riddle me this. Why? Samantha Rupnow, R-U-P-N-O-W, using the Twitter handle, X handle, Postal Brained, followed 13 people. Scrolling down the follows, nothing. The individual didn't follow anyone of serious. No political figures that this individual followed. Though I'm looking on the person's account, they went from a few dozen followers to now 475 followers. Probably higher as I click on 478. Every time I refresh, the account is getting more and more followers. That's how they do. Remember what happened to Luigi? Pepperoni Luigi. Remember him? He gained hundreds of thousands of subs, followers, after he was identified. Well, this shooter here just went from a few dozen to now 482. Samantha Rupnow. What's up now, Rupnow? What's up now, Rupnow? So we're living in some wild times, folks. Remember, this is okay. So here's the father. Here's the father, and look what the father posted on the right in a post. The father says, let me get this so you guys can see. Can you guys see it clearly? Jeff Rupnow, the father, posted on social media about his daughter at the gun range. Is that your kiddo? Sure is. We joined the Sportsman Club, MBSC, this spring, and we have been loving every second of it. I wonder how the father feels now. There's some sort of father-daughter relationship here because it looks like Samantha is the cover, his profile photo. Yeah, I can't read the shirt. Somebody said, read the shirt. I wonder what the shirt says. But this seems like this is skeet shooting. One of those things where those flying saucers go out and go, pull. I don't know if I ever shared people this, but my very first job in my lifetime, my very first job ever. I don't know what your first job was. What was the first job you got? So my very first job when I was 14 years old, me, 14, very first job, I worked at a gun range. And I sat, it was those skeet shootings, you know? And I sat in one of those bunkers. And it would get boxes of these skeets. And I put them out of the box and I would load them up to this thing and it would just go, phew. And you got to literally do it like every 5 seconds. You got to watch your hand too. You got to watch your hand. And you're in a bunker and there's people, there's like skeet shooters and they go, pull, pull. And you load the boxes. One time I made a mistake because they tell you when you're in those boxes, those skeet boxes, when you come out, you got to get a wet white flag and you got to wave it. I remember and I didn't wave it one time and I stuck out and the guy took a shot. Thank God they didn't hit me. I tried to get out of the bunker there without waving because to wave the white flag, then everyone's at ease. It was an interesting job. It paid me $5 an hour. Back when I was 14 years old, first job. Every Sunday, I'd go up to the gun range. The employer would call me and say a couple days in advance, you want to work? You know, 14 years old. You have to pay taxes on it, I guess. $5 times 8, $40. Make $40. Sometimes work Sunday, sometimes work Saturday, sometimes work both days. You know, it's not bad for a 14-year-old. Teaches you the fundamentals about money, teaches you the concept of working. They had a little kitchen there, you know, go and work and go out and get some eat some hot dogs and things like that. Wasn't bad. I did that for about a year. This was the first job. But one thing I've also noticed when I worked there, even with me being at 14, a lot of kids there, a lot of fathers and mothers that take their kids to these gun ranges and learn them how to shoot. And really, honestly, I would say that's kind of a good thing in a sense if you teach your kids responsibility with guns. Obviously, some of these crazy incidents that we've been seeing lately, once a parent gives a child access to guns, then the child does some crazy stuff, right? But overall, it teaches you the fundamentals of self-defense, shooting responsibly. I don't have a problem with that. So just because Samantha here took some gun lessons doesn't mean, this is, the father's responsible in a way. I just want to go towards the father. We can't sit here and blame the father for this, though more could come out. Prematurely blame the father. How about that? Prematurely blame the father for this. But there could be something out of this, though. That's what I'm saying. We just don't know. We're on limited information. I wonder why the police chief doesn't want to release this information. We want to get to the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Samantha Rupnow. So, why? We want to know if the school had any, if the shooter had any disciplinary issues, if the shooter was on the radar, if the shooter has ever been suspended. And then hopefully we don't get into a situation where they never released a manifesto like they did down there at the Christian school in Nashville. Haven't released the manifesto. Release it. We want openness. We want the transparency. We want the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Now, the school, when it comes to this, they're going to protect their own butts, liability purposes, right? So they're going to try to probably leave as much information not out there as possible. Because if it comes known that the shooter was known to the school as a disciplinary problems and things like that, the school could be in some trouble. Civilly. As we discussed on previous mass shootings, sometimes the shooters are known to the school and have had history of violence, threats, attacks on administration staff, yet the school allows them to be there. I'm going to send this to you, Magnolia. I don't know the validity. Maybe this is the manifesto, but I don't know the validity here. So, when will the police release the shooter's name? How come it takes sleuths to do this? How come it takes sleuths to do this? Someone explain to me? Rupnow, Madison, Wisconsin. I reached out to the father, Jeff, for comment. I sent him a message. Maybe he responds, maybe not. I just said, hey, how you doing? Identified as a journalist and said, how you doing? What's going on? I suspect that the father will probably get rid of his Facebook. And I wouldn't blink. I suspect that this Facebook account that you see in the center of the screen here, Jeff Rupnow, will be deleted. He's going to, I mean, there's no way he'll keep that up. No way. No way. No way. But the father, wonder what he's going through right now. How would you feel And what would be going through your mind if your child did this? And you got news in the phone call that your child did the most unthinkable, and you lose your child. On top of that, your child taking the lives of others. I mean, it's horrible. I can't even imagine that. Especially if there's like no warning signs or anything like that. But I have a feeling, I just have a feeling with this, there's warning signs. Let me just say, I feel like yeah, there's signs. There's signs. A lot of these people always reveal clues and signs of their behavior prior to what led up. Where is the mom? That's a great question. I don't know who the mom is. I don't know where the mom is. I don't know who the mom is. On the father's Facebook profile, he identifies himself as being single, with not in a relationship. Doesn't have a romantic partner. The school superintendent, the Wisconsin State Superintendent of Schools, Jill Underly, released a statement saying, "Our hearts are heavy with great sorrow as we mourn the senseless loss of life in yet another school shooting." Crazy, folks. Who is Samantha Rupnow? Who are the Rupnows? Who are the Rupnows? I'm going to put Samantha Rupnow in the title of this video. I just changed it, because that's who we're talking about. I'm scouring back at the dad's Facebook page. It's still up. It's still up. So the father seems to be a dog lover. There's photos of Samantha with dogs. Looks like two, like, I don't know what type of dogs they are. Like bulldogs? They definitely got dogs in their house. Samantha Rupnow. Who is Samantha Rupnow? Have you ever heard of Samantha Rupnow prior to this? Does anyone know? Because if you know, we'd love to hear from you on JLR Investigates. Tips at JLR Investigates. We'd love to hear from you. But it might not be Samantha. It's being circulated. So do we go back to, and I'm looking on my screen up here. I mean, it's pretty, the name is out there pretty strong. But should we be safe and say allegedly? Anthony Sabato Jr., I don't know if you heard of the actor, he's posting Samantha's name out there. Shadow of Ezra, a big Twitter account with 610,000 followers, is posting the shooter as Samantha Rupnow. Big social media profile named Jesse James with 80,000 subs, Samantha Rupnow. Antonio Sabato, sorry. I said Anthony Sabato. Antonio. I don't even know my actors. I don't even watch Hollywood. Antonio Sabato. Put it out there. Samantha Rupnow. Seems like people are saying, I don't see any other names. I don't see any other names. Hey, I see one account that's watching JLR Investigates just took a screenshot of me and posted it. Liminal, blue checked, verified account on Twitter just posted the same screenshot we had before. I see you. I see you. I see my face on the screen. Yeah, this Samantha on Postal Brain has made videos of her shooting guns. Scary stuff. The InfoWars people are putting out Samantha Rupnow. Dominic Michael Trippi tweeted out. This is the alleged shooter. Alleged. 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 Even when the shooter gets identified, a lot of people always say, alleged. We got to be politically correct or presumed innocent. All right. So we got that information out. I thank you all for watching JLR Investigates. I don't see anything else going on, like no other crime scenes or anything with that. So we'll leave it at that. Press conference. Let me know what you think. I'll do an extensive deep dive and we'll keep it moving. Praying for all the victims out there. Praying for the first responders, police, school faculty, everybody. Sorry you have to go through this. Be safe out there, my friends. Abundant Life Christian School shooting. All right. If anything else breaks on this case, you will hear it here on JLR Investigates. You guys have a nice day. We'll talk soon.